through the wonders of the NCAA tournament selection committee, we find all our Ohio teams in that lower half of the South Regional.
There was not that many
Yeah,
Ohio teams.
No, usually there's 5 or 6.
Right.
This year there's only 3: Cincinnati, Dayton, and Kent State. Let's kind of go through some of their pairings and teams, what they got going, and tell me how you see it coming out.
Well, the first game in the region, lower South region, Cincinnati against either Kansas State or Wake Forest in that play-in game.
I got them going against Kansas State.
You have them going against Kansas State? I wonder why. But if they do play Kansas State, I mean, does it make a difference?
You got them against Wake Forest.
Well,
and your ACC bias.
Well,
but go ahead.
Well, actually, I don't think it matters who they play.
Okay.
I think Cincinnati beats them.
Now, I think whoever wins that game beats Cincinnati.
Beat Cincinnati?
Yeah. And I like Cincinnati, don't get me wrong, but I think both of those teams have Cincinnati is not a high-scoring team.
Right. Never have been.
Never have been. And I think both of those teams are playing at a level right now that will give Cincinnati some trouble offensively.
Okay. The next one is UCLA against Kent State. What are you thinking about?
That's a 90. Yeah, I'm sure that's a 90% UCLA game, and I'm not crazy here, but let's just dream about the 10%.
Okay.
Okay. If Kent State can keep the game in the 70s, 70 or below, all right, I think they got a shot. Lonzo Ball's hurt now. He's got that thumb injury, so they got a little.
Well, he couldn't shoot anyway, so they don't have him there to shoot the ball.
He can score, but I'm just saying, we're working on a 10% margin here, so I got to find what.
But here's the thing about Kent State, as you know, I mean, Jimmy Hall can play on any level as far as
Jimmy Hall really emerged.
Yeah, exactly, he can play on any level in college basketball.
Right, and his sidekick that showed up during the tournament. Jalen Walker.
Yes.
I mean, he was pretty electric.
But that's the problem.
That's it.
And that's the problem because no matter they got the big man in the middle, Kent State likes to run. And then they're going to run.
Mean UCLA?
No, Kent State likes to run.
Well,
also,
they judiciously run.
But
they don't scatter shot.
But I think because of UCLA, they're going to fall into that trap.
Right.
And then start to run.
I see that. Like I said, I'm working on a 10% margin saying this is what's got to happen. But I think it's UCLA because I think UCLA has really played well all year.
So let's get to the next one. Dayton and Wichita State.
That's a really interesting. That's a mid-major pairing all the way around. You would rather see both of those teams play somebody else, really,
right.
Really, wouldn't you?
Right, you would.
But I think you kind of got to go with Wichita State a little bit. I think their depth definitely is a little bit more than Dayton's. They have some guard play. They have some size. I mean, it's pretty close there. But I'm gonna go with Wichita State.
Okay. All right. We'll quickly
how
run
do you
through.
Like Dayton?
Oh well, I like Dayton, but I think Wichita State.
You like Wichita State?
That they're gonna pull that out. Now let's quickly go through this. Northern Kentucky and Kentucky. That's quickly Kentucky.
That's a 5% game.
But yes. But how about the committee putting Northern Kentucky against Kentucky?
Oh yeah, that's strictly magpie game where you're talking into your sleeves. That, we're going to do this. But yeah, exactly. That's a 5% game. Kentucky definitely, but Kentucky will get Dayton, Wichita, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And that could be interesting. Kentucky should win that, but Kentucky's had some hiccups this year.
They had, and Wichita is an older team.
And Dayton, I think any one of those teams,
could give them trouble.
If Kentucky's peeking ahead, either one of those teams can sneak up on Kentucky.
Now I have UCLA playing Cincinnati, so you would have UCLA playing Kansas State. I think UCLA, no matter who they play there.
Right.
And then UCLA and Kentucky, the Blue Bloods.
They played earlier this year, man.
Yes.
And probably the best game, the best college basketball game of the year.
Great game. Any difference this time?
It will be interesting to see. The thing with a lot of these power conference teams, when you follow them, they don't look that much different in November than they do in March. Okay, now, a lot of these mid-major teams get better at the end. Kent State's a perfect example. What they look like back in December and January is completely different from what they look like now. UCLA, Kentucky, they look about the same. It's all a matter of how well are they playing. And I think right now, UCLA is playing better than Kentucky, which is not to say Kentucky's playing bad. I would just stick with UCLA. That's me.